Yat Lisa Redsteer Yanishia Hashkan Zohonishland do Tabaham Bashashin Kinflichit Nidashe do Klizafana Dashina. Hello, my name is Lisa Redsteer. I'm yucca fruit strung out on a line, born for Water's Edge. My maternal grandparents are of the Red House People clan, and my maternal grandparents are of the Minigoods clan. This is how I identify myself as a Dene woman. I am from Flagstaff, Arizona. My family is from Loop, Arizona, and I am a student here at Northwest Indian College. And very grateful and honored to be able to speak with you all here, and just for asked to being on this panel with these amazing people. And today I'm going to talk about just my journey of becoming a guest of the Lummi Nation and of Northwest Indian College and the Pacific Northwest in general. I grew up not speaking Navajo, so I am not a fluent Navajo speaker. My mom went to boarding school, and she felt that I didn't need that growing up, and that I also didn't need, cultural teachings, that I didn't have a lot of ceremonies, and that kind of prepped me for a really rough path. I went down a really dark place really early in life, and I had a daughter in high school that passed away. And after that had happened, I really kind of devoted myself to education, and I attended an alternative high school where I was fortunate enough to experience this tool called GIS, and I really found, that saving in that, and it was a different school. An alternative high school is very small, and there's different kinds of kids there. It's not your typical public school, and I went there and I mapped earthquakes that had occurred after Japan, and our senior field trip was going down the Grand Canyon, where I was able to map slumping and map the trails and how they were doing at that time. And I had decided that I wanted to go to school for geology with a certificate in GIS. So I applied for Fort Lewis College and left my home right after high school and went to Durango, Colorado, where I kind of found a small community, but it was just being that in that kind of Western setting is really isolating and intimidating. I had big classrooms with people that I don't know, and it was a struggle for me to really connect with anyone. So I spent a semester there and decided that I wanted to try going to a tribal college. So I went to Navajo Technical University, and I received my associates in geographical information technology there. And I was fortunate enough to attend classes that were all taught in Navajo, and I got to really reconnect with my culture, where I was introduced to place-based learning and how I connected to the land, and how my people have always, had that reciprocal relationship with animals, plants, the earth, and the water. And I was offered internship through a NASA grant, a NASA-funded internship with Kicksapa, where I was able to meet Michelle, and I developed, this little supportive community and this network there, and I did a 3-week kind of intensive training in GIS out at Haskell Indian University. I did not say that right, so I apologize. But I was able to meet a lot of people there, and I met, at the time, I didn't know who Dan Wildcat was, and I got to talk with him a lot, and I got to talk with Michelle and Paulette, and decided that I was going to move up here to Washington. I got introduced with the Rocket Club here and really found, a deep connection here. And I attended a college down south called Olympic College. My aunt was living in Bremerton at the time. She's an engineer and one of my role models, and she works for the Indian Health Service down there, and so I moved in with her and then got another internship, fortunately, and I was able to go to NASA Goddard Space Flight Center to do a summer research opportunity. And I had found out, so this is a long story, I apologize, but I found out that I was pregnant during my whole internship and decided that I wanted to come and be with my partner here at Northwest Indian College. So I enrolled in the Native Environmental Science program and also found out that you can't get a GIS position without having a bachelor degree. So I decided to pursue my bachelor's in Native Environmental Science, and upon coming here, it was very isolating because I didn't know a whole lot of people. I was always known as my partner's significant other, or that's just kind of how I was introduced a lot of the time, because he has a big name here and a big family. So I kind of was put into that position, but also was really feeling my way and just trying to find my voice in Native Environmental Science community. And I took a few quarters of classes, and I had my daughter in January of 2016, and I was still attending classes. I feel like that's kind of a trend here, is when us Native mothers come to tribal colleges, they put their whole into their education for their kids. And I had her in 2016, and I attended the Deloria Symposium because I found out all my friends were going to be there. So I went to the symposium and was in the crowd, and Dr. Dan Wildcat was on the floor with a group of students that he had brought, and he kind of gave me that acknowledgement during that time and was like, oh, like, you guys have one of mine too, like, you're one of my students, and really, like, it just validated that I am a Dene scholar, a Dene researcher, and doing these science things that I wasn't as confident about for a really long time, and trying to find my voice. And I felt like that really changed my my scope and things here, and I gained that confidence to really pursue and fight through a lot of the postpartum depression that I was going through. And I'm gonna graduate this quarter with my bachelor degree, so. And just really grateful, to be able to learn here and also learn about all of the relatives that we have here, and be able to provide that for my daughter when she gets older, because she's been to all of my classes. She goes to all of the conferences that I go to, and she's right there when I'm presenting and researching. But her cousins are at grandma's today, so she wanted to be there. She's 3 years old, and I feel like it just kind of prepared me for my next step, and I got this amazing opportunity to be the tribal liaison for the Mount Baker-Snoqualmie National Forest, where I spent a year there and was able to find different relations with tribal governance here, and just really, I was really grateful that I was able to attend Northwest Indian College, and that really prepped me for how I was gonna, conduct myself and present myself there, and how I wanted to do a lot of the work there. I led a lot of youth crews, so I did a lot of interpretive hikes, and was able to coordinate youth experiences for tribal kids, and we were able to kind of bring them home, in a sense, was what I really wanted to do, because with all of the boarding school and relocation, it was removal, and I wanted to give the experience of them, returning and reclaiming that area and that space. And a lot of the the interpretive hikes that I did were for students within the greater Seattle area who were coming to like Mount Baker, or just different parts of the forest. And I was able to bring my partner, who is a Lummi tribal member, and just created that space for him to tell his stories, because I feel that it's not appropriate to tell stories that aren't my own, and really wanted to, to have that space for him and for the people here, and have kind of made it my goal in education to provide those spaces. And I'm really grateful to be here, and I feel like I've been able to make, just those relationships and those connections within my clans, to finding relatives here on campus that I wouldn't have known. And that's all I've got to say. So thank you.